Venus. The second planet from the Sun bakes under twice as much solar radiation as Earth and reaches temperatures of 895 degrees Fahrenheit, 480 degrees Celsius. Pressure from the dense atmosphere of sulfuric acid gas is about 95 times greater than Earth's and would crush a human. The thick cloud cover around Venus rotates much faster than the planet itself, once every 4 days. The surface of Venus is mostly a rocky desert. This computer-generated view shows lava flows around Sif Mons. Like Mercury, Earth and Mars, Venus is composed of mostly rock and metal. The Greeks believed Venus was two separate objects, one in the morning sky and another in the evening. After the Moon, Venus is the brightest object in the sky. Because it is often brighter than any other object in the sky except for the Sun and Moon, Venus has generated many UFO reports. While all of the planets orbit in an ellipse, Venus' orbit is the closest to a perfect circle. It is the only planet in the solar system whose day, 241 Earth days, is longer than its year, 225 Earth days. Scientists say data from more than 30 years ago shows the planet Venus is volcanic. NASA's Magellan spacecraft collected images of the planet's surface between 1990 and 1992, and researchers recently searched that data to study the possible activity of the volcanoes in the terrain. The researchers from the University of Alaska and the California Institute of Technology found two large volcanoes in the Atla Regio region of Venus, the highlands of the planet. Aza and Mont Mons were previously believed to be volcanoes, but the researchers identified their volcanic vents, the hole where they would erupt, and confirmed they are two of the largest volcanoes on the planet, according to the study, published in Science. Aza and Mont Mons are comparable in volume to Earth's largest volcanoes, but have lower slopes and thus are more spread out, University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute research professor Robert Herrick said in a news release. The researchers spent about 200 hours comparing images taken throughout the Magellan mission, and found the volcanic vents had changed over time, suggesting volcanic activity. A change in a vent could mean one of two things: magma has filled and expanded it, or magma drained from it, making the vent partially collapse. While the vent of Mont Mons expanded, indicating volcanic activity, an earthquake could have caused the change, according to the news release. However, when the vents of Earth's volcanoes change this drastically, it coincides with nearby volcanic eruptions. While questions about the volcanoes on Venus remain, the researchers believe they are less active than the ones on Jupiter's moon, Io, which is so active that multiple ongoing eruptions have been imaged every time we've observed it, Herrick said. Herrick said there are at least a few eruptions per year on Venus. We can expect that the upcoming Venus missions will observe new volcanic flows that have occurred since the Magellan mission ended 3 decades ago, and we should see some activity occurring while the 2 upcoming orbital missions are collecting images, he said. Mars may also have active volcanoes, but most scientists would say that you'd probably need to watch the surface for a few million years to have a reasonable chance of seeing a new lava flow, he said. Hellish temperatures on the surface of Venus can reach nearly 900 degrees Fahrenheit, creating a less than hospitable planet. But a study last year renewed hopes that Venus could support life after researchers detected phosphine gas, which is produced by bacteria on Earth, in its more temperate clouds. Now, a new study published Monday in the journal Nature Astronomy found that the water concentration in our nearest neighbor's infamous sulfuric acid clouds is just too dry for life as we know it to find a way to survive. Microbiologist John Halsworth discovered a terrestrial fungus in 2017 that is capable of surviving at 58.5% relative humidity, the driest conditions a living creature has ever withstood. He decided to test whether they could exist on other planets. We bent over backwards to argue that the most extreme, tolerant microbes on Earth could potentially have activity on Venus, Halsworth said at a press conference. Halsworth found no known living organism could survive our sister planet's atmosphere, which is equivalent to a relative humidity of 0.4%. His team studied the planet's water activity, meaning its concentration of water molecules, rather than the actual quantity of water, to come to their conclusion. Water activity is calculated based on direct observations of pressure, temperature, and water concentration. Researchers used existing measurements from 7 US and Soviet probes and one orbiter mission from the late 1970s and early 1980s. "It's more than 100 times too low," he said. "It's almost at the bottom of the scale, at an unbridgeable distance from what life requires to be active." Key facts: Venus is the second planet from the Sun, and the sixth largest planet in the Solar System. Venus and Mercury are the only planets in the Solar System that do not have a moon. Venus is the second brightest object in the sky after the Moon and the Sun. It is the only planet named after a female deity and the brightest planet in the Solar System. Venus is 62 degrees hotter than Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun. Venus has a radius of 6.051 kilometers (3.760 miles) and a diameter of 12.104 kilometers (7.521 miles). It is only slightly smaller than Earth. Venus is at a distance of 108 million kilometers (68 million miles) away from the Sun. One day on Venus lasts for about 243 Earth days. This is the slowest rotation of any planet, making it the most spherical object in the Solar System after the Sun. Venus and Uranus rotate in the opposite direction than the other planets. They both move from east to west, clockwise. Venus has mountains, valleys, and tens of thousands of volcanoes. The highest mountain on Venus, Maxwell Montes, is 20,000 feet (8.8 kilometers) high, very similar to the highest mountain on Earth, Everest. Apart from lacking any moons, Venus also doesn't have a ring system, and because it rotates very slowly, its magnetosphere is also very weak. The average temperatures on Venus have been estimated to be at around 465 degrees Celsius (900 degrees Fahrenheit). This is hot enough to melt lead. Venus is very similar to Earth, and because of this, it is referred to as Earth's sister.